Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
All right, y'all, get your elbows up in celebration of, our finest art form. And if you're within the sound of my voice, guess what? That must mean you're in the seats with once more. As always, uh, I am Dave Voigt. I am the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals who pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and in a conversational fashion. You know, if you like how we do things around here, I will go out on a limb and assume that you do because you're listening. And if you are listening, keep listening and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere, places like Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So you can give us a like and subscribe there as well. We'd absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, Letterboxd, TikTok, Threads, the Blue Sky, probably a few other places too. Uh, at In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the movie image at large. Because guess what? If we live to watch it and read about it and talk about it, we love it all that much more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please do us that ultimate kindness, come on by and pay us a visit. Well, in case you didn't already know, kids, today is National Canada Film Day. Get those elbows up. Get out, support some Canadian cinema. There's a whole bunch of events going on tonight online, all the time. Just do it. Watch Canadian cinema, love it. And in the spirit of that, we decided to do something a little different because we talked to one of the staffers, one of the team members over at National Canada Film Day headquarters, their offices, because this young man sort of celebrated the art of just watching movies. And really, at the end of the day, that's the joy. That's why we do this. That's why we go to the cinema to be able to sit down and just in the theater and have that experience. This guy broke the world record for the amount of films seen at a film festival during the last TIFF. I had even a break from last TIFF till now before we talked. Let him decompress a little bit, but we talked about just sort of the marathon of that was, and was he, sort of able to appreciate the moment. And again, like I said, when it comes down to National Canada Film Day, I think we just need to remember the importance and the necessity of coming together and having that shared experience in a dark theater of watching a movie, because there's nothing like it. And like I said, check. We'll have the link in the description below, but go check out some things that are going on tonight for National Canada Film Day, because it's important, and we encourage you to do it. But first, enjoy our talk with Eric, because it's a darn good one. Eric,
Hello.
obviously, first off, just thanks for the time, and talk a little Canada Film Day, and just talk about let's just say this insane thing you did past TIFF, man. Because I mean, part of me wanted to interview you right away afterwards, but I felt like I needed to give you some time to decompress. Just have some time away from it all before we actually talked about it. But I mean, you broke
Well, it's
the
funny because I love reading you're in the seat, so I'm like, oh wow, this is really fun. So it's
you
yeah.
broke the Guinness World Record for most films watched in theater during a festival, correct?
Yes, yeah, I have the certificate. It's at my desk. I could bring it over if you need to see it
No, I
and
believe
proof.
you. I believe you. But I mean, I guess my first question is like, walk me through, I guess, especially sort of at the Canada Film Day office, because this was obviously a group event. No man can sort of, uh, climb Mount Everest alone without a team of Sherpas helping him. Like, what was sort of the impetus to sort of say, let's go for it?
Well, so to start with, it was kind of a funny idea at just like I don't want to say like May or June. I was like, somebody was talking with me and saying there's got to be like a record for this, right? Because I was saying, oh yeah, I tend to see like, between like 60 to 65 movies. And they're like, that's got to be like some kind of record. And I looked it up and that wouldn't have been, but this would have. There was actually a number that they listed on the site, but that nobody had claimed. And then I just kind of went for it as like oh, this would just kind of be a fun thing to do. I didn't think anybody would be that interested. Didn't think that it would be like a big thing. But then once it became clear, like I saw the schedule, I knew it would be possible. That's when I took it to my team and I was like, hey, is it all right if I just like put everything into this? Just like do this for like this is what I could do for 11 days. only this. And they were like, yeah, how could we help? And the metaphor we used was kind of like a NASCAR, where it was like you would just be getting these pit stops,
Right.
and you would have a situation where it was like they had my whole schedule, and occasionally I just walk out of a theater and someone from my team would just hand me a sandwich and drink and be like, go to the next one, because they knew I had 2 minutes between those two screenings and that I was not going to be able to stop to do anything else. And so sometimes it was a surprise. Sometimes they would just come and like take a little video. You might have seen all the stuff we did for social, but it was like a real. They found this like really fun. We're all about like doing fun things. So it was kind of like, yeah, this kind of blew up in a way I wasn't expecting, but would not have had any chance to do it without them for
But
sure.
I've got to ask though, like, what are sort of what were your sort of responsibilities at Canada Film Day? Because it definitely felt like, obviously you were all in on this. I mean, I'm friends with a few people there, and I see them during the festival. It's like, okay, I've got 7 minutes to go find Eric. Gotta go. Everyone was sort of invested in your journey.
Yeah, well, so first of all, like this kind of my seeing a lot of movies started with trying to see all the Canadian movies. And
Right.
so the previous two movies, or the previous two festivals, I had seen every Canadian movie at the festival, and the one before I saw all but one because I couldn't get into one. So that was always my goal. And this festival is no different. I started when I built out the schedule. I was like, I need to still see all the Canadian ones because I need to know what's happening, and these are the ones that I want to see too. I find that that's what I love about TIFF is it's kind of like this validation for what we do where you see, okay, this is what like we want is packed audiences for Canadian film. You get that at TIFF in like such a big way that I'll be at the third screening of Canadian film and it'll be full. It'll sometimes be hard to get in.
Mm.
And I'm like, I'm just, I find that amazing. You don't see that all the time. So that's where it's like, I love being at those audiences because it's like you get to see these Canadian filmmakers get this type of recognition that is so hard to find. And it's what we do with National Film Day is we want that. We want to make sure that like we get a big audience for a filmmaker to have this film because we know how hard it is to get that in this industry in Canada. You
No,
know,
100%, 100%. And I mean, like, I'm
yeah.
curious, were these all ticketed events? Were there P&I screenings? How did you sort of balance it all to sort of make it work? Because I mean, again, with the amount of movies you saw, I mean, I can imagine there was at least one day or two where you had like five, if not six per.
Oh, so five was my lowest. I
Oh, five was
had
below. You okay, yeah, 10
yeah,
days.
I
That
had
makes
to
sense.
average
Yeah.
seven.
Seven.
Yeah.
My God. What was that? Sort of
Yeah,
8 a.m. to
there was a
midnight?
lot of P&Is. Yeah, no, there were a lot of P&Is. It started on the first day. I had 4 days where I had 8 movies, and then the rest were seven, except for the last day, which I could only do five because of the way the schedule worked out.
Right, right.
So that was kind of how I built out my schedule, and it was yeah, like the P&Is are the only way you can do this because there's just otherwise that first day it's only a few movies. So it's, I, uh, I was definitely grateful to have that type of pass to be able to do that. I know that I wouldn't have been able to do it without it.
And I gotta ask,
Yeah.
what day did they hit the wall? Because I mean, everyone who works TIFF or does TIFF, there's always a day where you hit the wall. Like I'm kind of curious, like what day was that for you?
Yeah. I think that the one where it was like it was probably Monday, uh, where I felt like you could feel okay. I knew that there was still a lot to go.
Yeah.
And it was like you hit that point where you're like, yeah, like I'm real tired. And it was the night before that there was like a fire alarm in my building at 2 a.m.
Oh
and I just
no.
came in and I was exhausted. Yeah. And it was just the worst timing. And I was like, okay, I got to get through this day. And I know that if I get through this day, I'll be able to keep going, but that felt like the hardest day to get through. And then beyond that, I slept really well that night. I didn't do the Midnight Madness that night. I had to do it on the following night because I kind of had that as like, I knew I wasn't going to do every Midnight Madness.
Right.
I knew that
Well, you
going in.
had to.
I
Yeah,
could do more
yeah.
if I did every, but it would kill me because I'm also doing the 8 a.m.s. Yeah. So I skipped that one. I went to the one the following night, which was Escape from the 21st Century. And by that point, I was like, look, I'm over halfway through. I'm good. It felt great after that. It was like, okay, that was all good.
Now, I mean, especially with sort of what you guys do over at Canada
Yeah.
Film Day, like how important is it for there to be a festival like TIFF where there is such broad access to Canadian cinema? And like you say, to have these unexpected audiences, to have full houses for Canadian cinema, which quite frankly we don't always get during sort of the regular time, as it were. But I mean, it seems like the time of year where everyone does sort of come together to sort of support our industry.
Yeah. Well, it's not only just that, yeah, you get all of the Canadian talent that you get there,
Mm.
because it's a great mix of Canadian talent. You get all of the, this past festival we had, David Cronenberg, Matthew Rankin premiering their new films, but then we had a lot of like debut features and like Guy Madden was there, and this like this huge mix of people who you're like, okay, this is giving you a big breadth of Canadian cinema. If you come here, you're going to see that. And it's the same thing we try to do when we put together, like I work with, Sharon on our team to put together the spotlight each year to kind of give that same type of flavor where you can see this is a variety of films. There's more out there. We put a spotlight of about 60 films out there this year. We're ultimately showing about 400 different films,
Mm.
just because there are all these people who they say, okay, like what if I want something that has this specific thing, and that's my job to make sure that each audience gets something that will fit for them, because I
Right.
know that it's really important what we do here in terms of you don't get this type of opportunity of like seeing a free movie that like a free Canadian movie. People are looking for this type of thing. That was what TIFF always proves to me is it's
Totally.
an
Yeah.
important festival for that reason is it gives a reason um, where, okay, I know where's a Canadian film. Cineplex, I know they want to support Canadian films and I know that they want to put them out there, but without these spends from studios, you're not going to get that
Yeah.
every week where you're going to have that like oh there's a Canadian film here. You won't even know that it's there because all the other movies are getting inundated to you. It's so much harder. So having a day where okay, I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to watch a Canadian film on that day,
Oh,
whether it's
100%.
here, whether
Yeah.
it's at TIFF, both hopefully. Uh, that's what I think. And I think I attend all the other, like Kingston Canadian Film Fest does a great job.
They
Canadian
do.
Film does
Yeah.
a great job. We're partners with them. But we also work with all these festival partners who are doing the same thing and they're facing the same things. And so any opportunity, I think it's so important to have that to be able to show this because, like I said, it's just a consequence of being so close to the US is we're getting all of their movies, all the ads are coming to us too. It's the
Sure.
same studios and it's like it's so hard to compete with. So we're just trying to give a little bit of a leg up wherever we can, you know?
Well, no, and I mean, it's so vital and it's so important. And I mean, I really felt like your Guinness sort of run added such visibility to the idea of Canadian Film Day. Because I mean, I remember specifically during the festival talking with other people. It's like, oh my God, someone's going to try to break the record. Oh God, that guy's crazy. He's never going to happen. And then by like that sort of Monday, Tuesday, it's like, oh shit, this guy's still going. Oh, and this is all for Canadian Film Day. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, man. By the end of it, and by like the Wednesday, Thursday, it's like, fuck yeah, go Eric. Shit, let's keep doing this. Like, was there a point in the process where you were kind of aware that more and more people were kind of paying attention to what you were doing?
When I started getting just stopped between screenings where
Right.
people recognized me, that was something that I was not expecting at all. And the other thing was early on, because each screening I had to get a little witness statement from
Right.
someone. I had to ask the person beside me to sign off on it. Early on, it was very difficult to like tell someone, oh, this is what I'm doing. And I had to walk through the whole thing and why I need this witness statement. By the end, most of the screenings, whoever I talked to was like, "Oh, I heard about you," and I could not believe, like, I couldn't believe that it was like it couldn't have just been that I was talking to the right people. It
Right.
was like I talked to one of the last screenings I had was this guy who had set up a Reddit thread following my attempt,
Love
and
it.
it was this
Love it.
weird coincidence where he was like he happened to be the guy who does it. Like he was the one just sitting beside me, but he was joking on this thread, like, "Oh, I hope I see him at a screening. I'll watch if he's sleeping," you know. And I ended up he was my witness for one, so he got to do that. He got to watch me make sure I wasn't sleeping.
I love it. By day one, people are going, "Who's this weirdo?" By day six, people are like on board, ready to help. That is Canadiana at its best.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, for
Uh,
sure.
do you remember each one specifically? Like, did they run together at some point? Like, were you able to sort of have an appreciative experience of each movie that you saw in theater?
Look, I people don't believe this, but I do. Like I actually when I go into this, because that's the thing is this isn't just like, oh, I blew this up for this attempt. It's like normally I'm going to like 65, 66
Right,
screenings.
right,
It's
right,
not this
right.
huge jump. That is how like I prepare for the fact that I know like when I walk into a movie, there is that type of thing where people want to have that decompression time between movies. I get that. I'm always like, end of the movie, that was great. Shut off. That next movie, come in, open up. It's always been how I am with these festivals because I know like that's the way that I want to experience these movies. I'll feel them in the moment. I don't have that type of like opportunity. I'm doing this alone. I don't have that opportunity to talk to people about it necessarily.
Yeah, yeah.
I do miss that sometimes. I love that when I'm watching other movies, but festivals, I'm always like, that's different. That's this is how I do a festival. And I'm going to be doing the same thing at hot dogs of like each day, I'm not breaking a record to be clear,
No, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
each day
You'd have to
I'm
watch
going
the
to be
entire
seeing a
festival
bunch
to
of
maybe break
things.
a record, but yeah.
Yeah, no, this is yeah, it's hard with documentaries though, I will say. That one's a little harder.
I hear you. No, I hear you.
Um,
But I mean, and especially if you're
back to
doing
back
like fifth,
documentaries.
it's wild because I mean, I'm doing like 35, 40, and plus I'm doing other stuff and interviews and all that kind of stuff. And it's
Yeah.
at some point, there's always sort of that bit of like just pounding your head against the brick wall, like, keep going, keep going, keep going. But it's to be able to have that sort of discipline to sort of compartmentalize it all. I kind of admire. And I mean, as a critic, I kind of admire that because it's easier said than done. Like, how do you think you developed that, especially as your love of cinema and as working with Canadian Film Day kind of evolved? Because again, it's hard not to sort of get things intertwined sometimes.
Yeah, well, I think that the thing that I most felt was like so it was interesting because like I think about it where it's like uh the movies that really hit for me, are the ones that like okay, I can feel like I'm completely immersed in it at that moment, you know. And I think that, it was interesting how like the last movie that I saw was one of my favorites of the festival, which was like the Suleiman story. It wasn't Canadian, but it was just the last film I saw. And that was like to me, I'm like, okay, that's like I'm not sick of this. This still like I felt fully immersed by it. It was amazing. But I think just this is one of those things where I do attribute it to just having done this for like if you love something, it doesn't feel like work, you
True.
know?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think that that's how when I talk to other people, they feel that, where it's like, whatever you're doing, you're actually participating in this like big communal experience in a theater. I think watching these at home would be so much harder for me to like do that, but it's like when you get in there and you're surrounded by people who are all there for the same reason. All of you have chosen to see this movie. That's what I live for, you know? And I don't know if there is something different in my brain that lets me do this, but I think that that's the fundamental thing about it is like, you come into a communal space with all these people, it's gonna feel like, okay, this I have to pay attention to this. We're all here. Like I find that it's very difficult, when it's like if somebody's on their phone or something, it's like it's obvious that okay, why are you still here?
For sure. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm always one of those people where it's like sit there, watch the movie. That's what I'm here to do, and that's why like even whatever happens on that screen, I never walking out of a movie
Mm.
because it's like I've I've devoted myself
I'm with
to
you, by the
this
way,
to
on that.
watching
Yeah,
this.
I'm with you on that 100%.
Yeah. And like I'm really of the mind that it's like if I've chosen to be there, I want to have a full opinion on that. And to do that, you need to be concentrating, you need to be fully in it, and you need to let whatever that filmmaker wants to tell you, let them tell you, you know?
No, I mean, I love that you brought up that idea of the communal experience because as much as something like Canadian Film Day with all these fantastic events that are going on, And about it's about as much as it's about supporting the artists and the filmmakers and all the people involved that it takes to make a film, because obviously it takes a village to make a film, not just one person or two people. It takes so many different people and so many different levels to make all these wonderful films. It takes us as viewers to be able to gather and share in the communal moment, because again, that's what these things are made for. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I love about Canadian Film Day. It's just as much about the artists as it is about sort of the importance of gathering and watching.
Yeah, well, it was brought me here originally was I was going to like I went to the Sesquicentennial version, I went to the 2018 version, and I was just when they said in the intro, this is part of 1,800 events, and like we're back at that number again.
Mm.
We're gonna have 1,800 events, and you think, oh my God, like I'm part of something huge. And
Yeah,
it
totally.
was hearing that when I was just an attendee made me like when there was an opportunity to work here, I was like, I really want to be a part of that, make that happen. It really was that kind of like you feel that when you're an audience member. Okay, when somebody tells you that, you're a part of something big, you know. And that's what I love about this, where you know someone in a retirement home is now connected to somebody in Kazakhstan who's watching the same film at
Yeah,
the same time or
yeah.
different time zone, but like same day, you're both watching that same film. And that's the kind of weird connection that we make with this crazy idea.
Well, and I mean that's what I love about it. And thank you for being a part of something huge, because again, I think it's the little components of us all getting together to make this something special, which is what makes it special. And I mean, I love Canadian Film Day. I'll be out doing what we can, but uh just again, like thank you for the time, but also I hope you don't have the urge to sort of up what you've already done with this Guinness record, man. Obviously, what you did was a little insane, but God love you for it. And just Eric, man, thanks for the time, man. I really appreciated talking to you.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be upping it anytime soon. This was a really fun experience, and I'm just so glad that it I actually did get the record, so I don't have to necessarily feel like I have to do it like that they approved the record. And I was like, okay, cool. I have the certificate. Even if someone beats me, good on them. I'll help them out. If they want to beat it,
You'll
I'll
shake
give
the
them
hand of
some
the next
tips.
guy. Absolutely. I'm with you. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Eric, just again,
Um,
thanks for the time, and just congrats on everything that everyone over at Canada Film Day does. Because again, I can't say enough good things about it.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you for taking the time and being interested in doing this.
Always, man, always.
I'm
All right,
glad we're
talk to
talking
you
about the
soon,
day.
buddy. See you on the warpath. See you out there at the movies.
Yeah. Okay. See you around.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.